Hello and welcome back to the channel for another video tutorial. Today we are talking all about dusting brushes. They're one of our most popular products. You can get them on our website, and this video is all about how to use them, what each one's for and when you would use it, and also how to care for them and clean them. So those are there, and I thought I would give you a quick little rundown of what I do with each one and why and how and so on and so forth. Starting with, we'll just go from the top. So they are nice and soft, and the bristles are white, as you can see, which means that you can always see, for example, like so, what colours you've been using on them and so on. They have a wooden handle, so the one thing I'll say is that if you're using them for painting or anything, so you can of course use them for painting as well, if you're cleaning them, whatever you're doing, just don't leave them sitting in water, because over time, you know, the water will soak up the bristles through the ferrule and then into the wooden handle, and then because it will expand, because it's wood, it cracks the paint off. We went for wooden handles simply because in years to come, when they are done with, at least there's part of it that will disappear back into the earth, let's say. So yeah, just mind that with them. So the big one, the large brushes, like so, are good for doing large areas, as you can imagine. So for example, this peony petal here, done with a large brush. In fact, you can see it's probably these two. And I was thinking, I haven't undusted one of these, but I figured I could dust the back and just show you what I do with them. So that was a little bit of bright yellow, a little bit of warm yellow, and we will have a little bit of bright orange, if I can find it in the chaos that is this box. If I can get it out of the box now, there we are. So we can start off just that tiny bit of yellow, and we're just going to take that from the bottom up. And what's nice about these big ones is, big brushes, that with those soft repetitive brush strokes, can you see how quickly and easily you can create that lovely gradient? So these are perfect for when you're not looking for, we're not doing detail with these, we're just getting that nice colour wash and colour gradient. The yellow is always the sacred one, so I don't use any other colour on the yellow, because you can see I've got a few sizes with the yellow. You will never get it clean enough if you use it with another colour to get the yellow pure, so they're the only ones that are sacred. Whereas this one, I'm going to use it with some orange now. I could use red on that. It's not going to cause me a problem further on, it's just the yellow that's sort of sacred. Anyway, we can take the next bit of our little colour wash, and we'll just add some of that, and you can see it's deepening at the base there, and then like so with that darkest colour. And it's just those repetitive brush strokes so that the colour is added on and blended as you go, and you will get that beautiful smooth gradient from one shade through to the next. And the thing is that if you were doing it with one of the smaller ones, like if you were trying to do that with the little one, two things are going to happen. First off, it will take you forever, but secondly, you will get brush strokes in it. You will be able to see where you've had to do multiple brush strokes with it. So that's what I do with the largest one there, and of course that works for big leaves, anything of a large size really, it's perfect for. So that was that one. We've got the medium brush. So these, I had the samples and I actually used them for the magnolias, but you guys obviously didn't know that when we were doing the class there. So I've got a magnolia petal, which You can see I want some of my mega pink, and I'm going to mix in some violet pink as well, because that makes a very nice colour. Right, I shall mix a little bit of these two together. And you can see you're always sort of dabbing on the paper, so I'll always use kitchen towel because it sort of holds on to the dust, which means you can dab and sort of rub it off so that you are completely in control of how much dust is on the brush. And again for this, we can concentrate at the bottom and just bring it up, and it just means that for something like this, we've got a really nice size for doing that, like so. Now I'm actually going to take the same size brush but with a different colour on it. So I've got a green one, and we'll have a little bit of leaf green, just a touch there. There we go. So I've got a little leaf, and we can just again bring the colour up from the bottom there and do that. What's quite nice with this one is if we kind of reverse the direction, we can build up a little bit more colour on the outline there. And then I'm going to swap to my next size down, so my small flat brush, and actually this has already got some of the darker colour on it, I think. There we are, a little bit of the deep green there. And these ones are nice for a bit more detail, being a bit more specific. So here I'm just using it perpendicular to the edge of the leaf to kind of give us a bit of an outline and definition. And again, repetitive brush strokes with a little bit of colour at a time so that we get that nice gradient, like so. And next one is the other new one, so it's the angled brush, which is like this. Now this one, there are a number of different things you can do with it. So on last week's live we had our lovely friend Vicky with us, as Vicky Tether of the Yellow Bee Cake Company, and she is awesome at making models, like blows my tiny mind. She is so good at making models. And between us, we did some cats in an autumn setting, and she's so good at teaching this that she made the white one and the tabby one, I did the grey one. Like, she's so good. But she used the angled brush to do the lovely stripes on the tabby cat there. So if you want to catch up on this, you can check out the video from last week. So you can use the brushes and the dusting and everything for models too. The angled one was perfect for that. But it's also perfect for putting stripes. Oh, just destroying the cats. One moment. For putting stripes on your petals, because some petals do have stripes, some leaves have stripes. They are fab for doing that. So I'm going to come back to this mixture of colour here actually. Make sure I'm not too purple. And on our magnolia petal, we can use this brush like so to sort of add that lovely stripe that some magnolia petals have. And the trick with getting stripes with it is to sort of load it with the dust and do it lengthways, because that means where this is at a nice angle, you're getting that whole length to give you that colour and those nice neat stripes. So one example where this would be very useful, so this is a cosmos petal, and you get these lovely, they call them candy cane cosmos or candy stripe cosmos. It's something like that. Move that up a little bit. So we can use an angled brush to get those lovely stripes around the edge, on the base, on the petal. Find your words, Nats. There we go. And then we can swap to one of our slightly bigger brushes if we want to catch those edges. Actually, a small flat will be the perfect one for doing that. So we can be quite precise with creating our stripes with that. And of course you get leaves that are stripy. There's all sorts of different applications for that with flowers and things. It ended up being super useful when dusting the what are these, Chris? Wisteria, and that's why this brush was purple, because it is the perfect shape to kind of get inside on those inner petals and to sort of target that inside bit there. So really a very useful one, this. And of course you can paint with them too if you're mixing up with Rejuvenate or anything like that, and you just got a good shape and size there to utilise. So our next ones are the two round ones. So that's these ones. There's a fairly small one and then an extra small one is what we've always called them. So they're nice if you are looking to blend a sort of smaller area, so, or catch the edges in a smaller way. So for example, I have this petal here, little rose petal. So if we wanted to just be targeting part of those edges, like so, it can be quite handy. So you can just be a little bit more, where am I? Here, precise with them. Like so. But they're also very useful for doing smaller flowers and like filler flowers. So for example, with this one here, say we wanted to do, we could give it a sort of pinky coloured edge like so. So you can see we can just be a little bit more precise really with where that colour's going. Like that. And then if we wanted to pop some green in the middle, we can use the very smallest one. This is the extra small round. And this one is good as a dabber. So because the bristles are quite short and they're nicely tightly packed, they don't move too much. So this one is a better blender because it's got a bit more movement there. Whereas this, you're going to get a much more precise placement off of it. Like so. And then we could also say, for example, use our what's the name one? What is it, Chris? It is the angled one. Sorry, I've got completely, my brain tonight is just
been a long day.
Gone. You know, draw a little bit of colour up there. But yeah, so that's
the new angled one.
This is the new angled one, yeah. So each one does have a different use and a different application depending on what it is that you're doing. My favourites so far have usually probably been the small flat and the small round, but it depends a little bit on, as I say, on what you're doing. I think the medium flat is going to become a firm favourite. Does make all the difference, as we have seen this evening, especially like with this one, you know, starting off white and so on. And it's one of those things that having the right tools to do any of your work is always going to make it easier, and having nice brushes certainly makes it easier. And also, they look really nice. I don't know if that counts as a reason that you should get some, but maybe they do look really nice.
It helps.
It does help. And yeah, I am obsessed with those photographs I took of them all lined up with all the different colours. Like I might have to get one printed to put on the wall here because it makes me happy that it's neat. And it's probably you know what the funny thing is that there's nothing that neatness like it's not how we live. It's not how I live. It is unbridled. I mean, look, the state of this. All the stuff behind me, it is unbridled chaos. But then I get really happy when I put together the pictures and you just have the little colours. So I saw, do you want to swap for a sec? If you've got any questions, anything to do with brushes, now's the time to ask. I did see somebody ask about cleaning them.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to move some of this stuff out of the way. The main thing with them, the main thing with dust is always, you can always add more, but you can't take it away. So little by little, building up those colours, you're always making sure that you've got the dust. The only way I can describe it, and we've been saying this for years, is in the bristles instead of on the bristles, which is why I like to do it on kitchen paper, because kitchen paper helps to hold on to it. Because if you... I've lost it again, I'm so sorry. If you do it on something that won't hold on to it, like the kitchen paper, you just run the risk of putting on too much. So in terms of cleaning them, if you want, for whatever reason, to wash them, then just warm soapy water, just like washing up liquid, just warm water, washing up liquid. And what I would usually do would be pop just a tiny bit of soap on the end, like literally just a little bit, and just give it a good old swirl in your palm and you'll kind of see the colour come off. But like we said, make sure don't leave them standing in water because it will soak up through the handle. The other thing you can do is clean them with corn flour. So if you swap for me again, please. I'm just going to grab a pot of corn flour. And you can do this.
I'm also trying today.
What's the matter?
Nothing, I just did something backwards, that was all.
Oh, fine.
So remind me. But,
So corn flour, you can either do this in the pot or you can pick up some corn flour and just do it on a sheet like this. But if you give it a good old swirl, the corn flour is going to lift the colour off the bristles there. And you're just going to kind of keep doing that, keep swirling until the corn flour becomes clean, really.
Does it take a while?
It can take a little while. It depends how much colour there is. It depends what colour it is, because as I'm sure you will have noticed just from using them, some colours and tones are stickier, for want of a better word. And I don't mean sticky like sellotape, I just mean they...
Absorb or,
I don't know.
cling on more.
Yeah, than others. So it depends that, and you will be able to get them pretty clean. As I say, you can't... you're never going to get them 100%, which is why, as I say, the yellow is sacred, because it would be difficult to ever clean enough pink off of this to reach a point where the yellow is going to come up completely pure and not even the slightest bit tainted by the pink. But this is certainly, if you wanted to use this with red, orange, purple, something like that, a paler pink, you know, a neighbouring colour, this is going to be absolutely good to go. And you can see we're pretty much clean. So that's how you can do that. And then I stand over the sink and just give it a really good flick on my fingers just to make sure that I've got all of the corn flour out. And don't forget as well that you can also mix your dust with corn flour to sort of dilute them. So it doesn't, as you can see what we've done here. So we've got, say, the mega pink, you want a paler shade. Mix it with some corn flour, you know, fresh, I'm just using this. And that, if you start brushing that onto your petals, yeah, and I've got another magnolia petal behind me, it just means, so it hasn't made the colour paler because we haven't added white, but we've diluted it, just like adding water into watercolour paints or some other paint or whatever. And you can see it just comes up paler, and it just means that you've got a little bit more control there to build the colour slowly, or indeed just leave it paler. So you can always use the cornflour to help you keep the control of how much colour you're adding, because little by little you can always add more, but you can't take it away. I would say
What was the question?
the question was about how many sets to keep them pure. Your yellow is sacred, as we said, but otherwise the rest of them, so you've got to keep yellow separate. Your pinks and purples can all go together. Your reds and oranges can all go together.
Greens and blues.
And then your greens can go together, and then your blues, it's fairly rare that one uses blues for flowers, which is a shame because I do like blue. But by and large, you know, they can either go with the greens or they can go with the purple. And the point here is, if you think of a colour wheel, or indeed a rainbow, take out the yellow, the rest of these, they're all ones that are next to each other. So if you've got a brush that you've used for orange dust and you've used for red dust, you're not going to ruin it too much either way, because red is a component part of orange. They're very similar colours. And same goes with pink and purple, and same goes with your various greens. So it just it's just so that you're not using opposite colours that are going to fight against each other. So you wouldn't, for example, want to use blue and orange on the same brush, because all you're going to do is make both colours look dirty, if that makes sense. And yes, I know that we do have some folk who have a spare set, just because they're so nice when they're new and clean, as displayed. Yeah. Which, you know.
But they also look quite nice when they have been used.
They do. They're nice and colourful. So yes, cornflour is how one cleans them. And yes, please swap back. So there you go, everything you needed to know about how to use and look after your dusting brushes. If you would like to get some of our lovely brushes, you will find them on our website, immaculateconfections.co.uk, and we will see you again very soon for another video tutorial.